Paul Weidner, welcome back to the podcast. Super pumped again about this one. We're athletes out there. This one's for you. We're going to talk about two character traits that Paul and I, the athletes we work with, the most successful athletes in the world, in whatever sport it is they're playing, they have these character traits. They have developed these, and it's helped them to be successful both on and off the field. We know you're on here because you want to have more success on the field, in the gym, on the court, whatever it is. And that's we're all in on that. That's what we're here for. We think by focusing on these character traits, putting these in your toolbox and focusing on these will help you to be the best athlete that you can be. Paul, welcome back. What are you thinking?
Thank you. I'm excited to talk to the athletes. That's what it's about.
All right, let's go.
Parents, whatever. Athletes, I'm just kidding. Athletes excited to talk to you. Let's go.
Yeah, Paul's he's bored with the parent thing. No, not really. But love it. So let's talk about this. Athletes out there, we're going to talk about two character traits. And I actually like to talk about this when I'm talking with you athletes. Traits oftentimes are we think of them something, and maybe you guys are like, whatever. But often we think about traits as something that we're born with. These are actually skills that you can develop. So as I talk about these as character traits or character skills, it doesn't matter. These are things that you can get better at. And if you get better at these and focus on these, you're going to be the best athlete and have the best sports experience you can have. Okay. So number one on these character traits, maybe you want to write this down as athletes: resilience. And what does that mean exactly? That is the ability to overcome adversity. Okay. How fast, how well can I overcome adversity? Think about your own sports journey. The times when you've gotten punched in the face, for lack of a better term, the times when you've had a really hard game, the faster you can get past that, and you know this, athletes, the faster you can get past that strikeout, the better off you're going to be for your next time in the plate or when you go back out on the field. The faster you can get past that missed free throw and get back on defense, the better off you and your team are going to be. The best athletes in the world, and you know this if you're a baseball player, you hear it all the time. The top Major League Baseball players are the ones that can most quickly overcome adversity, overcome something bad happening, overcome an 0 for 20, a 1 for 20. How do we keep on? How do we keep moving forward? Paul, things to throw in, just kind of describing that, defining that, making that so important.
No, I think it's the easiest thing for athletes to relate to, because every single athlete has been in a position where they know they had something bad happen and they had a hard time with it. We all want to increase our resiliency. Nobody's reached the finish line on this trait. It's all about getting better at it. And so that's really what it is. Very, very easy for everybody to think about in a time, probably very recently, where they can think of, my resiliency wasn't where it needed to be, or I had a really hard time overcoming some adversity. So trying to give you things that you can do to make that get better for sure.
So I want you to kick it off, Paul. What are the things, what are the actionable strategies, the tools, techniques that these athletes can start to implement to help them better, quicker, faster overcome adversity?
Yep. So first thing, there's two different parts of this. There's what happens leading into an event and what happens directly after an event. What happens during the event is just going to be what it's going to be. You are competing against somebody else. Sometimes they get the better of you. Sometimes you get the better of them. There's nothing to be said or done about what actually happens with the result of the event. There's before and there's after. Before, what gives you the best chance of having the most resiliency that you possibly can is what it is that you're actually focused on prior to that event. So if all of your obsessive thoughts, all of your things that you're focusing on leading into the at-bat or the free throw or the play in football, whatever it is, if it's all about what's going to happen from a results-based standpoint and you don't take care of your process leading up to that or even concentrate on it, then the result is always going to either give you a super big high because it went your way, or it's going to be really hard to overcome it if it doesn't go your way. And the highs are going to be really high and the lows are going to be really low. Leading into a certain event, whatever that may be, your ability to say, yes, I did do the breathing that I needed to correctly. I did journal. I did have a good pre-game routine. I was engaged and focused in the right way. My energy was good. then what happens during the event just takes on a little bit more of, not totally, but a little bit more of it is what it is. Like, it just is going to be what it's going to be. But a lot of what I'm putting stock into to help with my resiliency and overcoming that is whether or not I took care of business leading up to it. So if, for example, you didn't do your breathing correctly, you didn't prepare really well, you weren't taking care of the things that you could control, that would be obviously a really negative thing, and you should be upset with yourself about that. But the cool part about those characteristics is that they are controllable, and when they are controllable, doesn't mean you're going to be perfect at them every time, but it's a lot easier to say you should put stock in things that you can control. And then if you do those things correctly and you do fly out to the first baseman, you do miss the free throw, you do throw an interception, whatever it may be, it softens that blow, because that's not what you were focused on in the first place. You were focused on whether or not you gave yourself the best chance of success, not whether or not you actually had the success. And we all want you to have success. And Travis talked about this, and it's really important that I say it as well, because I wanted to be super, super clear. We care whether or not you can perform well as an athlete. We're trying to give you the best chance of doing that. The hard part about it is that focusing on the results does not give us the best chance of having the results that we want to. I want you to have good results. Focus on these things over here that are the pre-pitch, pre-play, pre-stuff. Then the results can take care of themselves and just be what they're going to be. So that helps you with resiliency. On the back end of that, I'm getting a little long-winded here. On the back end of that, so after the result actually happens, your ability to look at and put a lot of value in the next step forward is really big. So if you view the next step forward as just being the next shot you take, the next time you throw a pass, the next time you get a play, the next time you get an at-bat, you're going to give yourself a lot of mental permission to be a really negative person and have maybe some explosive reactions, because there's nothing that you have to worry about. The reality is that somebody on your team is about to have to do something in sports. So they're the ones taking the next at bat, they're taking the next shot. And your ability to understand that your engagement with your teammates is the next most important step gets you to turn the page really fast, ideally. So make sure that you understand that next step forward is sometimes not directly about you, but it is about your ability to engage with your teammates, which is important. So make sure you look ahead, don't look back. Look ahead to what's next. And that next thing is actually happening really fast, no matter what sport you play. It's a little bit easier in basketball and football and other sports, but even in baseball, you have a teammate that's taking an at bat. Look ahead and be a good teammate. That is your job in your very next step. So make sure you're doing that.
Really good. I'm going to add and kind of summarize maybe a couple things. So I agree with Paul 100%. In the moment's going to be whatever the moment's going to be. How do we prepare ourselves for the moment? So we will definitely be more resilient if we understand, and I don't even, again, Paul and I have talked about this. If you have a goal, you want to get hits. Great. That's pretty result oriented. That's outcome oriented. But there is a process, right, that gives you the best chance of getting hits. So we're going to dial into that control, those controllable things. That's what a process is. The controllable things that give me the best chance of getting a hit. Okay. And Paul talked about breathing, journaling, all these things. What I would strongly suggest, if you don't have things that you lean into for your process, grab a notebook, write down, for my game today, here's what I am going to focus on, things that I control that give me the best chance of success. Okay, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. Here's the things that I can control. A few things: energy, effort, attitude, overcoming adversity quickly. Maybe you want to get more into it and be specific on your at-bats. I want to focus on being super aggressive in my at-bats. I want to focus on swinging at fastballs. If it's basketball, like I'm going to really focus on getting back on defense. I'm blocking out for rebounds. Any of the controllable things that give you the best chance of success. That's what the process is. And if you focus, as Paul said, on that process, you will be more resilient. You won't care so much about the outcome. You're still going to be affected. Let's not beat around the bush. Like, I'd rather get 3 hits than no hits, okay? But here's the going after piece. I look at it a couple ways, and I love what Paul says, like we just got to move on. But I would also, depending on the athlete, sometimes it's great to, okay, learn from it. Is there anything I can take from, whether it's within the game or after the game? So Paul didn't really talk about after the game, but he's talking about an event and then what do you do afterwards? So it's kind of the same thing. But let's just say it's after an at bat or even after the game. Is there anything that I can learn from? And when we're talking about that, so if I went 0 for 4, all right, let me look at my at bats. Is there anything I can do better in my process? Okay. Is there anything I can do better? Do I need to hunt curveballs sometimes? Do I need to have a better 2-strike approach? Do I need to, on my layups, like push off my left foot more, get up a little bit higher, whatever it might be? As you're looking at these things, starting to babble on, Paul, but you can look at in your process stuff, physical and mental things. So as you're writing down my process, what are the physical things I want to do that give me the best chance of success? What are the mental things that give me the best chance of success? Okay. Yep. Write those out, understand those, dial into those, believe in those. And then afterwards, whether it's after an at bat, sometimes you don't have time for this, so you might have to shift to the next thing faster, or after a game. Mentally, physically, are there things that I can do better? Awesome. Now we're learning. We're in a growth mindset. We're learning from things. And then to what Paul said, now I got to move on. I don't care if it's after an at bat, after an error in the field. I don't have time to maybe assess, what did I do right or wrong there? Did I have my good prep step? Did I take my breath? Did I get beat on my back? Like, nope. In that case, I just got to move on. If it's a sport like basketball and I miss a shot, dang it, I thought I should have. Nope, I got to move on. I got to play defense. But after the game, you can assess that. Physical and mental adjustments I want to make, and then let's move on. Okay? That's it. End of story. Anything to add? So just to wrap that up, resilience is built off of focusing on your process, not the result. The process is mental and physical things that give you the best chance of success. Yep. Okay. That's A, that's up front. B, at the end, between events, after a shot, after an at bat, physical, mental things that I can work on, move on. So it's pretty simple, not so simple when you get to that. But understanding and really developing a process for doing those things will make you more resilient, will make you not so engaged in the result. It'll make you so much more engaged in your process. How do I get better every day? How did it go today? How do I get better? Any thoughts to wrap that one up, Paul?
No, it's good. Good stuff. Nice job.
Awesome. So you're going to hear about this in this next one. Number 2, self-confidence. How do we increase self-confidence? How do we walk up to the plate with self-confidence? How do we step to the free throw line with self-confidence? And a lot of this stuff goes back to what we just talked about. The same thing. Paul, you kick it off here with self-confidence. Thoughts, things you want to throw up front here.
Yep. So working with a lot of athletes this summer and trying to rephrase to them where their confidence should be coming from, or even rephrase the word that we use for that. So we talk about self-confidence, and a lot of that is very paralleled with what would be like self-trust or trust in myself in a certain moment. So if you are somebody that draws all of how you feel about yourself based on recent events and recent results in a game, there is going to be very little that Travis or myself or any coach or any mental performance coach is going to be able to do for you as far as consistently increasing your confidence, because you have already decided that my confidence comes from results. And unless you start to be somebody that never gets out, never makes an error, or never gives up hits, or never misses shots, unless you're that person, you're really going to struggle with confidence because you've directly tied it to your results. So where should confidence actually come from? Confidence should come from a place of how much I can trust myself in this given moment. Things that build trust. How much preparation have I put in leading up to this moment, both on like a macro level and a micro level? So macro would be like, I lifted all off season. I hit all off season. I was in the gym getting shots up during open gym. I routinely attended those things that build equity in your own mind about, I deserve to have success in this moment. I trust myself. That's like a macro sense. Micro sense would be like, I took a good breath right before this event and I could feel myself becoming more regulated. That's better than being not regulated. I just built myself some equity right now by being able to do that. So where does that actually come from, or how do you increase your self-confidence? Figure out ways that you can trust yourself more for the moment, as opposed to trying to convince yourself like, yes, I'm going to get a hit here. Well, how about this? How about you try to convince yourself I deserve to get a hit here? Whether or not you do or not is different. Like that's not the same conversation. I deserve to have success versus I'm going to have success. Because the feeling that I'm going to have success, well, if you hit a home run in your last at bat, you probably feel like you're going to. If you're 0 for your last 9, you probably feel like you won't. But do I deserve to have success? That comes from a different place. So focus on the deserving more than the I think I will. I think that's more where I think of when I think about self-confidence.
Love it. Two things on that. So the deserving of it for me, right? And you mentioned it comes from preparation. Mm-hmm. Like I've worked hard. I put in the reps. I've been doing this for a while. I think you can also lean into past successes that you've had. Okay. You can, maybe it's not the last couple games. Maybe it's not your last 20 at bats, but thinking back, like doing some visualization of last season, of whatever, like I've done this before. I can do this. Like I got this. Yep. So having that real kind of playing in your head, maybe, I've shared videos with clients and with my kids, home run videos. Like this wasn't that long ago. Remember this, like, and that's not trying to lean into results based, but it's trying to say, I've done this before. Like I know I can do this again, kind of a thing. So I love that. So preparation, maybe thinking about past successes. And then as Paul said, and we talked about with resilience, having a process that gives me the best chance of success. So I know if I do A, B, and C, I give myself the best chance of having a great at bat, of winning this pitch, of helping my team win this game, of having a good game. So you have to be really aware, athletes out there. Things that you're doing pre-game, mental and physical things, just like with resilience, you can go back 10 minutes and listen to that. What are the things physically and mentally I need to do to give myself the best chance of success today? That gives me confidence, self-confidence. That gives me trust. If I do this, this, and this, I'll have the best chance of success. And again, just like with resilience, looking at those things afterwards. How was my confidence today? Pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat, every play as quarterback, whatever it might be. Okay, when did I lose that and why? Did I start to probably focus on results? Did I start to probably focus on things outside my control? That's what probably happened when your confidence dipped. It didn't dip because you were saying to yourself, I know if I have a really good plan for this at-bat, take my deep breath, that I'm going to have a good at-bat. Give myself the best chance of a good at-bat. Yeah. That's not when confidence dips. It dips when we're focused on the results, when we're focused on the outcome. So catch yourself in that and be better about it next game. Know that when that umpire banged me on that pitch that was 6 inches outside and now it's 0-2 instead of 1-1, that my confidence dipped. Umpires out of my control. What I do control is taking a nice deep breath and having a plan when I step back into the box. That gives me the best chance of success, the best chance of being confident. Yeah. Any way to wrap that one up, Paul? Did I miss any details on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about the things that you just said, that also makes it so it's a lot easier to take it from one level of sport to the next, or a different setting to the next. So like if you're currently a JV player and you get called up to varsity, a lot of times it was like, well, I was doing well in JV, now I'm a varsity player. And so you start to feel like now I'm not as confident because now I'm facing better guys and whatever. And so focusing on the things that led to the success, you can do the same thing at that new level of sport. But I know that's something that a lot of our athletes deal with, whether it's they made a new higher team for where we're at, the JV to varsity, seniors in high school going into college. Like, what are the things that gives you the best chance of success? Those carry you through multiple settings instead of being like, well, I don't know, I've never gotten a college hit, so until I do, I don't know if I can. Well, that's always going to be a problem unless you realize that the things that you should be drawing your confidence on to get that first college hit is actually something else entirely, because you don't have any history at that level, so to speak. But you don't have to draw upon that. You can draw upon something else.
As you're saying this, and we've talked about this before when we talked about confidence. Usually confidence is pretty good. It's these other things that crash into our head that deter us, take away from confidence. And we talk about this like right with being in the zone. Like kids are in the zone until they're not. Until something bad happens, until there's some noise, until I move up to varsity, until that umpire makes that bad call, until I go play out in the Cape Cod League for the first time ever, like I'm pretty good. And then some noise crashes in. Well, how do we get rid of the noise? We have a process. We have things that we control, that we know that if we do these things, we have the best chance of success. And those things might change. I'm playing at a new level and the pitchers are a little bit better, a little different. Maybe I have to change my plan a little bit, right? But as soon as I get that locked in and I know it gives me the best chance of success, here comes my confidence back. It's if I focus on those results or any of that other noise that my confidence goes down. So be really locked in on your preparation and your process, the controllable physical and mental things that give you the best chance of success. Again, afterwards, think about those things. Do I need to make any adjustments physically, mentally to have a better process? Or was it just a quick story? Like Drew's having a really great at bat against a kid out in the Cape, and the kid has just a fastball that moves around, right? And Paul, you'll relate to this. Like the thing is darting in. You don't know where this. And Drew's fouling off pitches. Great at bat. Then out of nowhere, and this guy's thrown to, I think this was the second inning, he's thrown to 5 batters already. He throws this freaking curveball, 12-6, that just dumps into the zone. And Drew's frozen. And he's like, yeah, I'm not sure what I was supposed to do with that. I hadn't seen one in 5 other batters. This guy's got a fastball darting out. And I was like, you tip your hat. Like that can be, once you know that you're locked in on your process and you have it really good, even adversity, even failure, you can deal with it. Your confidence doesn't get knocked down because you know you had a great process. So Drew's process was great there. The guy he got beat in that situation. So that can happen, and that's part of sports and baseball too. And then we go back to the resilience factor. How fast do you get back out, play your position as catcher, catch the next guy, have good energy, good effort. So love it. Anything to wrap this up, Paul? Really good stuff.
Oh, that was great. Good stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Athletes, hope this stuff helps. That's it for today. We'll be back again here in a week or two, and we'll bring something back at you in a week or so. Thanks, Paul.
You bet. Thank you.